This week on Cartoon Doomster Dive, we cover Tales from the Cryptkeeper.
Joel.
Yes, Andrew.
Spooky month still.
Spooky.
Ooh. What do you feel about scary stories? How do you like them?
I like a good scary
story. Do you have a favorite scary story?
Like in media or just
in general, just word of mouth, maybe maybe live action Tales of the Crypt, or just any kind of scary story.
My dad, he would tell us a lot of scary stories growing up.
Mm-hmm.
I've always enjoyed his scary stories.
Okay.
There was one he told me when I was about 13. After I begged, you know how it is. You beg and you beg and you beg to hear this scary story, too scary to hear. Scared the everlasting shit out of me, I'll tell you.
Okay. Which one was it? Do you remember?
It was one that he called, it was a story of Louis Siegel.
Okay.
And he promised, or he made me promise, to never retell that story to anyone.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell it now. Break your promise.
To everybody. No, but it's a story about like demonic possession.
Okay.
Terrifying.
I always enjoyed the lady with the yellow ribbon around her neck.
Isn't that the one from the book, right?
Yeah, it's from Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
Yeah.
It's the one where it's like you go, your head fell off, and he's like, there you go. I was actually reading. I feel bad about doing this now, but before we recorded, I was giving my son a bath, and I was reading him the jump scare portion of the Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, and all of them end with you just go, wah! And he got scared every time. I was just like, happy Halloween. He was like, oh, all done. And I was like, let's read another one. So basically this, tonight for bath time, I tortured my son with Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Speaking of scary stories, we are covering Tales from the Cryptkeeper, and it came with a theme song. So let's review it right now.
Let's hit it. Is it just me, or should this theme song have ended right there?
Yeah, I didn't remember it being that long. I thought it was like 40 seconds. But I guess it's longer than that.
Yeah.
Tales from the Cryptkeeper.
So you just heard that Cryptkeeper. Based on my intro, how did I do?
You did fantastic. What are you talking about?
Okay, I just, it's always nice to have that reassurance, you know what I'm saying?
Look, you've got a handful of impressions that when you do it, you knock it out of the park.
Yeah, thank you.
And
thank you.
I think that's one of them.
So for this one, I'm just going to give it a 5. It's not that exciting. It should have been shorter.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Not good, not bad. Just, hey, cut it down, make it a little bit shorter. Maybe you had a 6.
Yeah,
Man.
Yeah. I think that's about it. If I could critique it, it'd be like a 6, and then it's just like if it was like 30 seconds. But
maybe just make a whole new one.
maybe it was definitely like a budget keyboard
Yeah.
theme song. It's those are always funny. So Joel, how did this actually? Before we get into how did this show get made, were you a big fan of Tales of the Crypt? Are you a big fan of an anthology series like Tales of the Crypt and stuff like that?
I love them. What, like Goosebumps? What, Goosebumps really is a anthology series?
Yeah, but it's more episodic anthology. Tales of the Crypt, you get like at least like, I want to say 4, maybe 3 or 4 in one go. But I get what you're saying. But
did you ever watch Tales from the Crypt, Andrew?
I watched them a lot on DVD. I remember the one I remember the most. We had this DVD as a kid. Growing up, it had the Blob in the Lake, and it had one where Stephen King was like some sort of like hayseed farmer, and he became covered in moss. And that one wasn't really scary. It was just like super sad because I remember I had my friend over and I was like, check it out. I got Tales of the Crypt, and we watched it, and we watched that one, and it's like he gets some sort of weird meteorite, and it makes like moss grow everywhere, and then he falls in the bathtub, and he gets covered in moss, and then he like grabs his rifle, and he's like, please God, let me die, and then he shoots himself in the head, and you're like, and I looked at my friend, I was like, well, that one was kind of a bummer.
That one's really not even that scary.
Yeah, that wasn't scary. I'm just kind of bummed. I'm just kind of sad now.
Depressed.
So
the worst kind of horror movie. Just depression.
Yeah. Make you think about life. You're like, oh, okay.
We got them.
But I love Tales of the Crypt. I also love VHS. I feel like that one's a modern Tales of the Crypt. Tales of the Hood is also a good one. Just any kind of horror anthology. I really like it because it's just like you get like little, because like horror sketches, I feel like that's the way to go with scary shit as far as like media is concerned. Because I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but my take is scary movies can't be scary anymore. But scary video games, that's where it's at. That's where you truly feel pulse-pounding fear. Because it's so hard to do a scary movie nowadays. That's like not like just, over-the-top gore or something like that. It's like something that's like, oh, fuck, I'm scared. It's mainly just like jump scares and just like, I don't know. There's just like, there's not a gravitas of like tension anymore in horror films. But video games, there are some horror video, because I love playing horror video games, because I guess I hate myself, because like I get so scared playing them, especially like lights off and the headphones on and you can't hear shit, and then all of a sudden you fucking like, I refuse to play a VR horror game. I might like have a heart attack and die.
I don't even see how you play a scary game. I am the biggest scaredy cat in the world. Yeah. I've played a couple, hate them all the time.
Yeah.
I get no enjoyment out of them. I don't want to be scared.
Fear is such a like interesting emotion, because it's like there are some people that are just like, yeah, I love the adrenaline of fear, but it's like at the end of the day, you're safe. And then there are some people like, if you scare me, I am immediately going into fight response, and I also carry a gun. And you're like, oh shit.
You better be ready for the karate chop. You scare me, immediately just
throat chop. That's why we can't take Joel to a haunted house anymore.
I go in there, I turn like I'm a UFC fighter all of a sudden. I'm like, I'm fighting my way
man,
through
you
this.
broke my nose. I got homework. I'm like, oh shit, how old are you? 15? By the way,
Oh,
most
crap.
people who work at a haunted house are 15. I worked at a haunted house.
Yeah.
I worked at a haunted house for about 3 years.
Weren't you the creeper?
I was
at one point?
I was the creeper for my second year, and then and that was one of the three main attractions. They had Jason Voorhees, because they had a fucking tall motherfucker playing Jason Voorhees, and I think they had a Freddy Krueger section, and then they had me being the creeper, and
Okay.
yeah, it was fun. It was fun being a main attraction. I think year 3, I didn't get paid as much as the other main attractions, and I got salty about it, and I left. Because I was
Gotcha.
like, why are they making more? And it's like, I'm doing like stuff, you know?
Yeah.
I'm climbing up the rafters, and I'm trying to get these motherfuckers scared as shit.
I'm scaring people. Come
And
on.
it's just like, although the Jason Voorhees guy did have to jump into a lake and like chase after them in a boat, but he had a wetsuit on. But still, it's like this was like in the mountains. It's cold. It's
Cold
a cold
water.
fucking. So it's like I kind of got it, but like the other guy was like, no, fuck you. Pay me as much as at least him.
Hey, maybe we in a bonus episode we really break down why movies can't be scary
Maybe
anymore.
It's something about it. But
Yeah.
anyway, Joel, how did Tales from the Cryptkeeper get made?
So, Andrew, this is based off of the series that we've already talked about.
Yes.
Yes. Which I did not know this, but the series actually aired on HBO first.
Yep.
If you would have asked me, before this episode, I would have told you it was Fox, because I guess I only saw the reruns on Fox.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So based off of the series, which all of that is based off of the comic Tales from the Crypt from the 50s.
1950s EC comics. I don't even think DC Comics even was around yet when EC was around.
It's wild how old Tales from the Crypt is.
Yeah.
So the cartoon we're talking about, this actually aired in 1993. It was actually produced by our good friends, Nelvana. And it came on the heels of really their Beetlejuice cartoon, which, did we do that for last year's spooky season or the year before?
Which cartoon?
Beetlejuice.
Oh, no, we did Beetlejuice in the middle of the year.
Okay. Could not remember. I could not remember.
I think we did Beetlejuice in like a goddamn June or something stupid. Because like, I think if you go back and you listen to the Beetlejuice episode, the first thing I say is like, we really should have saved this for October.
We really should have.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Nelvana had pretty good success with the Beetlejuice cartoon. Well, when that cartoon got canceled, they wanted to replace it with another like horror comedy cartoon. Tales from the Crypt on HBO, that series was blowing up at this point, really becoming kind of like a pop culture reference. So Nelvana worked with HBO here to actually, get a cartoon made of this, but they had to really tone it down.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
there's that one. It made me, this actually remembered another Tales of the Crypt that I like. It's that one old man. They try to steal his inheritance after he passes away, and it's his birthday. and he's a feeble old man, and then he dies, but then he comes back to life and he kills all his family members, and then he turns one of their heads into a cake, and he's like, "Happy birthday, I finally got my cake," and it's like this decapitated head with like candles that spell happy birthday. I think it's a friend of the show, Dusty Doom. It's one of his favorite Tales of the Crypt sketches,
Dude. Okay, so
but yeah,
I
you
need to
certainly
go-
can't have that in a children's show.
I never knew that Tales from the Crypt was that kind of
Oh
edgy,
yeah,
that
some
kind
of
of
them
violent.
get violent as fuck. Like some of them aren't that bad. Like some of them are pretty tame. Like you could be a teenager and like, okay, I can watch it.
Yeah.
And then some of them are like cranked up to 20 and you're like, holy shit.
Which the series, my understanding, they are just pulling these old stories from the comics.
Yeah, they're
like,
all from
directly.
EC Comics. Like I don't
Yep.
think there's like, I don't want to say like they're unoriginal, but they're just like they just pull it from the story. Because
Yep.
I mean that thing,
Incredible.
like Tales of the Crypt, the comic ran forever. I think it's still. I don't know if Tales of the Crypt runs as a comic now, but I'm almost. I mean, we're not a comic book podcast, but I think
It
think it
doesn't
still
look
does.
like it's still running. It looks like it last issue was 2017,
okay.
but of course they do, volumes, so it wouldn't surprise me if they release like a new, volume 1 with so many
Yeah.
issues in it. But
Nice.
so after that produced the show did pretty good. It ran on ABC.
Mm-hmm.
Ran for 3 seasons, a total of 39 episodes.
Oddly enough, each season is different, which I thought
Yes.
was pretty funny. So we'll talk about it when we get into the show itself.
Yeah, but so that's really it for the creation, Andrew.
Yeah.
You want to hit us with
It
the
went
voice
from
actors?
comic to gory show to kid-friendly cartoon.
Oh, yeah. How
So,
they always go.
in a way, I mean, this is definitely part of the category of like made for kids, but not for kids,
Yeah.
type of property. But the voice cast for Tales from the Crypt Keeper are John Kasser is the Crypt Keeper, Elizabeth Hanna is the Old Witch, David Hembler is the Vault Keeper, Stuart Stone is Boy with Dog, Craig, Itchy, and Sheldon. Dominic Zempagana is Kid, Peter, Simon, and Vincent. And finally, George Buzza is Armstrong, Caveman, Orwell, The Hunter, and William. That was just like the 5.
Okay.
And
Gotcha.
the 3 that I named in the beginning, they play a more important role
Yeah.
later. So, John Kasser is the Crypt Keeper from Tales from the Crypt. We have Elizabeth Hanna is Surfbots from Mega Man Legends.
Interesting.
The little
All right.
yellow robots.
Yeah, but
David Hemblin is Dr. Frumberg in the movie Brain Scan. Stuart Stone is Ronald Fisher in Donnie Darko. Dominic
Ooh.
Zempragana is Jammer in Battlestar Galactica. And finally, George Buzza is Beast in all of the X-Men animated properties, including X-Men 97.
all of them?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, because they got the original voice actors back for most of them.
But like you said, in all
the
like,
well, I
animated-
mean the Fox animated stuff. Like,
Oh,
he
okay.
was, he
Okay.
was Beast in like the animated series, and then X-Men 97.
excellent.
So-
Still a great beast.
Yeah, still great Beast.
Yeah.
I'm almost certain that everybody who's played Beast drawed inspiration from how he portrayed them. There's no other way.
Yeah.
So let's talk about it. Let's talk about Tales from the Crypt Keeper. It is a kid-friendly version of Tales from the Crypt. Most of the time it's with a teachable lesson at the end of each episode, which Tales of the Crypt did not have a teachable lesson. But, this is a time.
Andrew, do you know, because all of these lessons are teachable, this cartoon actually was educational for that reason?
This is edutainment. This is technically edutainment. It is around, well, no, the Child Care Act is very much repealed around this time. But, so, let's get into, I'll get into the episodes a little bit, but I find it funny that the seasons, so the first season is more like it's different stuff. There's a caveman is unfrozen from ice and he joins the world. There's another one where a nerd becomes basically Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. There's a werewolf one, just normal horror stuff, but also do your laundry and eat your vegetables.
You should have left a note.
You should have left a note. Brush your fangs. The second season actually involves the Crypt Keeper is at constant odds with two other EC comic horror hosts, the Vault Keeper and the Old Witch, who try to steal the show from him. And
interesting.
It's because they're jealous they never got a show. So that's... And then the third season, the Crypt Keeper takes on a more active role, usually by setting up the situations to teach the lesson himself.
Now, the third season, that was also titled New Tales.
Yeah, the New Tales from the Crypt Keeper. And that aired in 1999. It's on Teletoon Canada and then CBS here. And so that's kind of how it just puttered out.
So really each season of this show, it almost sounds like they almost don't know what direction.
I don't think they knew what they wanted to do. Because I feel like there's only so many kid-friendly horror stories you can do. And, this series did get canceled in December 10th, 1994. There's not really a real reason. I think it just kind of ran its course. And usually when we saw this with Gargoyles, I think. We saw this with Gargoyles. Yep. They had, the new adventures of Goliath and the Gargoyles. But once you start going into rebranding territory of your show, there's a pretty good chance that the writing is on the wall and you're not getting the numbers that you need to stay afloat. So this probably just kind of, it came and went. They tried to keep it and it didn't work out.
I also think, because you remember around this time, there was, call it the satanic panic. There was a lot of concern from parents how our media shaped.
Yeah. This is a little past the satanic panic, but it's still there. I know what you mean, because there's definitely we don't want our children learning lessons from a demon.
Or video games.
Oh, yeah.
Was they talked about, video games are going to make you violent. You watch violent stuff, you play violent video games, you're going to be violent. There was a lot of concern about, I guess, the media.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. Media consumption was there. I do appreciate, I appreciate the very first episode of this one, because it's very it's a very on the nose Tales from the Crypt thing, where it's you're introduced to the world of the Crypt Keeper, and it's these two kids are exploring this mansion. They're gonna rob it first of all, because
kids.
The owner goes out of town on vacation, and it's the Crypt Keeper's mansion. And so they find a treasure, and it's an EC comic book, but then they realize it has them on it. and they get eaten by zombies, I think. And then it's like that'll teach those kids to
don't break into
a house. And there are a few others that I kind of enjoyed. I like the one where the kids learn not to be dickheads to ants by being turned really small into ants.
That's pretty fun. What a great lesson.
The caveman one didn't really have a lesson, I don't think.
Don't trust cavemen?
No, because the caveman ends up being free and the piece of shit boss takes his place in the Frozen. I think that was more a lesson for fathers, because the dad's like a piece of shit. And he's like, I'm sorry I missed your birthday for work. And then like the whole day he hangs out with this unfrozen caveman. So
cats in the cradle and the silver spoons.
This is all on Tubi. There's also a Nirvana has their own YouTube channel called Retro Rerun, and it's on rotation on Pluto TV. So there's a lot of ways to watch it. I watched it on Tubi. Tubi's been knocking it out of the park for us. We need to get them to sponsor us.
Hey, we watch most of our stuff on your channel. Just sponsor us.
Yeah, why not? You got I think the last time I tried, I was like, I can't figure out how to talk to them.
I feel like Tubi doesn't need to.
They don't need
run
us.
ads. I mean, everybody
knows. Like
everyone knows.
Tubi is basically what Netflix was when Netflix first started. It's just like a bunch of shit that's like, oh yeah, that did exist, or it's like, oh yeah, that's a terrible movie.
Oh, I forgot about this.
So
never forget the days of Netflix being a mail-in DVD rental service.
Yeah, you say that to a Gen Alpha, they'll look at you like you're crazy.
Yep.
I do think it's pretty. So really, season 1 is the only one that kind of grabs from the comic, and the rest of them are just like. And I think this is where they messed up. I think when they tried to make it more about the Cryptkeeper himself, and like he's got to fight the old witch and the Vault Keeper from like stealing his show. I think that's where it kind of lost me, because it stopped really being kind of an anthology, and it was just more about a cartoon about a zombie trying to keep his gig, and you're like, that's not really what you want from a Tales of the Crypt cartoon, or in the Tales of the Crypt Keeper.
They really missed their mark on that one. Yeah. And I think you might be on something. If they would have just stayed with the same thing on season 1, honestly, maybe they run for one more season. Mm-hmm. I don't think this thing would have had a long life, even if they was crushing.
It had a long enough life for sure. Yeah. There are a few DVDs you can find, but find might be a strong word. But I'm pretty sure I don't know if they have Second and Charles everywhere, but I'm almost certain if you've got a Second and Charles, it's got to be somewhere. But Joel, I believe it's time for your new reoccurring segment, Reviews from the Dumpster Keeper.
Oh, yes, Andrew, welcome.
Let's look at some reviews on IMDb. IMDb Demon.
I'm surprised you didn't like this show as much as I thought, because it's nothing but fucking puns.
I mean, it's puns, but I don't know.
There's too much. There's such a thing as too much of a good thing, I guess.
Exactly. You get kind of exhausted after a while.
You're like, oh, cool, another corpse pun. Awesome.
Great. All right, so could not couldn't find any 1-star reviews. Or let me start off with the total rating for this, Andrew. So we are looking at a 7.5 out of 10 out of 1.6K reviews.
Okay.
So we finally went back over
cracked
1,000.
it over 1,000. That's amazing.
All right. Couldn't find any 1-stars, surprisingly.
I feel like this is kind of like a cult classic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Found a 10 out of 10 titled Very Entertaining Cartoon. I remember watching this show as a kid. I loved Tales from the Crypt, so I didn't think much about the cartoon version, but to my surprise, I enjoyed the majority of these episodes. And I like how at the end of each episode, the bully learns a valuable lesson and changes their ways for the better. I happened to watch a few episodes on Tubi recently, and even as a full-grown man, I now still find these episodes entertaining. It's too bad kids nowadays can't experience watching these types of cartoons. Shows like Tales from the Cryptkeeper, Goosebumps, and Are You Afraid of the Dark was basically my childhood.
That's another one. That's not one we can cover, but Are You Afraid of the Dark is another good horror.
It's a real good one.
Series. Yeah.
Oh yeah. But yeah, I mean, this show to me, it's a entertaining show. Yeah. I think you've convinced me. You've made a point about the second season. I believe that's when when it
started going downhill. I think they went into the writer's room with the wrong idea of why people liked it. Like, obviously they liked the Crypt Keeper, so we got to give him like more of a backstory and stuff. But it's like, no, not really. It's like, do more anthology, make more horror stuff. And this is a really good litmus test, by the way, if you want to see if your kids are going to be into horror stuff. Like, let's say you're a big horror movie buff guy, and you're like, I wonder if my kids will be like, this is a pretty good, like, what do you think about this kind of deal?
You like it?
Yeah. And so I would say, I mean, I guess we're already in closing thoughts, huh? I would say definitely check it out if you're a fan of Tales of the Crypt and you also have children and you're just like, this would be fun for Halloween. Like, let's all watch this together. Because you're also, I mean, they are fairly decent lessons, but this isn't something I would go back and watch just for me.
Yeah.
Like, it's animated okay. It's not, I wouldn't, if I wasn't doing this show, I wouldn't have watched it at all personally, but I feel like if you want to try to see if your kid is into horror stuff, that's about the only thing I can think of to use this show for.
It would probably be entertaining to the kiddos, but a adult, not worth your time.
Nah, it's like it's a little rough around the edges for me. Like, even I was like, I hate to say it, but I fell asleep like 2 times watching this, and I usually do not fall asleep while watching stuff.
But that time I was like, kids to sleep.
I was like, oh shit, I'm supposed to be doing research.
I got scared.
Yeah, I got scared and I passed out. That's really what happened. But Joel, I believe that wraps up Tales from the Crypt Keeper. If you would like to support the show, you can go to patreon.com/cartoondd. There we have the $5 tier. It gets you stickers and pins mailed to your door, access to bonus episodes and extended audio episodes, and we also have a free tier that we're trying to work on getting everybody into the Discord that joins it. I'm not really good at Patreon, so stay tuned. And if you are part of the free tier, maybe check your email. I might have sent you a link. And if I did, email me again, and I'll send it again. We have an X handle Cartoon DD. We are Cartoon Dumpster Dive on all other social media platforms.
And as always, leave us a 5-star review. Have a great rest of your week.
See ya. Put a nail in this coffin. This episode is done.
Booyah, Joel coming in with a pun at the last minute.
This has been a Lughole podcast.